to this very goddamn day, not one weapon of mass destruction has been found. So it's like so I'm looking at your question and I'm like, where do we want our standing to return to? To that? Because that ain't it. That wasn't it. So then we get to Obama. And like I said before at the start of this, Trump was just the loudest. Just the loudest. Obama dropped more drone strike bombs on the entire Middle East and like northeastern Africa board than you could even imagine. Like it was daily. If you were to look up the number of drone strikes and air strikes, Obama is probably the most bloody president that has ever graced the White House. He has killed a fuck ton of people, but he did it with poise and style and grace and good diction. And he talks like this all the time. And he makes sure that the American people, you know that I have your best interests at heart. And I just want to make sure that everybody's safe.
Oh my God.
Right? And that your children, Michelle wants your children to eat well. So
holy shit, you sound just like him.
And so nobody gave a fuck about the thousands of drone strikes that were happening in the Middle East, killing children and women and the elderly and the frail. I remember, so when things started to blow up, they mistakenly bombed the hospital. You remember that? They were just like, I'm sorry, of all the possible targets that you could have targeted, a hospital?
Right, exactly.
That was Barack Obama. So going back to your question, do you guys think we can regain our global standing with Biden, or did Trump ruin it for good? Do you want to go back to that? No, you don't want to do that either. So it's like, where the fuck do we want to go back to in terms of global standing? It ain't nothing in the past 20 years.
I would think we would have to go back to the Reagan era because, and I'm not talking about Reagan's
era.
No, I'm not talking about Reagan's American policy, just the foreign policy portion of the Reagan era.
Wasn't he Iran Contra?
Yes.
So okay, so not that either.
Well, you can't find an administration that didn't have at least one scandal. So we're gonna have to pick a place and not just let one scandal throw the entire administration out, because every president has a scandal.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking, I don't know that Clinton era was any better, because he had a lot of tumultuous times with those, dropping bombs on places.
He had bombs on places. That was also a secret, like Obama. But he also had the crime bill, which affected us here.
Right.
So you know what? We should go back to the global standing.
Angie says World War II. Yeah, that's what Angie just said.
When the world was like, "Yes, America, you killed Hitler," but it was really the Red Army from the Soviets.
It was a team effort.
It was a team effort. We teamed up with the Soviets, and like the world for a while, it was just like It wasn't world peace, but God, it was close-ish.
It was definitely a calming time.
No, not World War II. After.
That's what I'm saying. After World War II, it was calm. Well, then the Korean War, and then the Vietnam War. So there was that calm right after World War II.
It was a very short calm. I want to say it was about 4 years, because right after that, it was American civil rights.
But we're mixing foreign policy and domestic policy.
So globally, the best time ever for us globally, where we were the most respected country on the planet, was right after World War II.
Yep, that's right. Angie nailed it.
So if we're gonna go back to that standing in the Biden administration in 3 years and 8 months, it ain't gonna happen.
No, it's gonna take a long time, and let's be honest, it's gonna take some change in the American people in order for us to regain global standing, because we're a joke right now. This is what Trump did actually do. He took it from the administration that's in office is making poor decisions, so the world thinks we're a joke, to now the world having no question that we are in fact a joke because of all the voters that are
followed him.
People who, I get why people followed him in 2016. Totally understand it. But voting for him in 2020 you've had 4 years of what he did, and you're gonna vote for that guy again.
But their eyes were so veiled. Their eyes were so veiled.
And to watch people storm our own Capitol in Washington D.C., we're a joke. This country is a complete joke right now. It's going to take a long time, but it's also going to take the American people waking up and stop putting all of their trust in one person. There is no person on this earth that you could point your finger to.
Yeah.
Not a single human being on this earth you could point a finger to and say, Beth, would you follow that person into the fire? I'd say, nope. Not a single person.
See the side chat that we have here? Or is that just for us? The chat on the side there. Can viewers see it, or is it just us?
Well, so if anybody is in YouTube, they see the YouTube chat, and then for Facebook, they see the Facebook chat.
But
so StreamYard, it's just us.
Okay, so we started this, I don't know, about an hour ago, and in that time, we have had so many trolls talking about Trump and Biden and our race and Beth's hair, etc. And I'm just like,
I missed the one about my hair.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna read it. It's terrible. It's honestly terrible. You might have blocked the person, so it might have deleted.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was bad. It was horrible. Good thing you didn't see it. I'm so happy you didn't see it. That makes me feel good because I bore the brunt of it. I took it and I just swallowed. I was just like, oh, that's how you feel. I thought you saw it. It was horrible. So it wasn't about your hair, as in like the style, but they called you a ginger.
Oh,
so they called you a ginger and they called me a slave, but I'm not gonna get into
that's why I blocked them. I did not see the comment about my hair, and I am not a ginger. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
But then they called you some very derogatory terms. So that's why I blocked them.
So my thing is
thanks, Melissa.
That's where we're at right now in America, where you can show up to two people you've never met and talked to and call them all kinds of stuff out of their name and whatnot. You know, that's the culture where we are now. That's what Trump promoted. I'm not going to say he invented or started it, but he definitely promoted it. He made it okay or whatever. So it's like, how do we get back to our global standing where people look at not just America, but American citizens as respectful people? No person in their right mind that could see those kind of comments from Americans to other Americans and think we should respect those people. Those people don't even respect each other. So why the fuck should they care?
Right, exactly. We basically can't even accept the cold hard facts when it comes to a global pandemic. So what hope do we have for regaining our political or human standing in the world? Not much, but it's going to take decades of hard work from the American people. It's not going to take a leader to come in and renew our standing. It's going to take us. Okay. And yes, and as Melissa said, so basically we just need to do better. Yes, we all need to do better.
I can take that question from Princess Alyssa.
Yeah, go for it. So where would you suggest? Actually, my husband and I were talking about this about 3 hours ago.
Before I answer this question, Princess Alyssa, never mind. I'm gonna let it go because this is hitting right now. And I have to remember we're live. I don't get to edit this. Afterward.
Right. This is live. Behave. Yeah. Behave.
I am behaving. Oh my God.
I know you are. I know you
are.
So,
all right. So let's read the question. Where would you suggest to find political news online that is easy to digest for a younger person like myself? Information is everywhere on the internet, but it's hard to find some that's unbiased. Got you. I got you.
Yes.
I got you. I alone can fix this. I am Trump. So if you open up another tab or browser right now, what I want you to do is go to Google and type in these words: political leaning news, and hit enter. The search will populate. Hit images. The first 2 images that come up should be how reliable is your news or how biased is your news source, and it'll show you a spread of how biased or unbiased or center or whatever your news sources are. And this graphic, I'm sorry we can't post it here because this is live and this is not the podcast that we can put stuff up. But if you follow those instructions, it'll tell you what's left. I guess this would be left for you guys. What's right, and then what's in the middle. And you have a lot that are in the middle. So I'll just tell you from the graphic that I'm looking at right now, if I could just get a bigger version. Uh which which way does your news lean? So I'm trying to find this chart. Okay, here it is.
Yeah, Alyssa is saying this is a very useful chart. So
Yeah,
she was able to find it. And I know exactly which one you're talking about. I've seen that one
right.
too.
So in the middle, you have things like, oh, the dispatch, as in the Columbus dispatch, is in the middle.
No, probably
That must
not.
be something else. That's impossible.
Yeah.
That's not true. So you have things like NPR, PBS, Fortune, Bloomberg, The Hill, Wall Street Journals, Reuters, AP, Politico, South China Morning Post is in the middle. Good Lord.
Interesting.
BBC, Axios are in the middle. And then on the far extreme left, you have Jezebel, Counterpunch, Occupy Democrats, the Palmer Report. That guy's weird. Oh my God. Oh shit. I just said that on live. Oh God. I'm not good at this. Anyways, yeah, but far left. Far left is no better than far right. So on the far right, you have Judicial Watch, American Thinker, AON, Newsmax. Fox is over there. Like Fox is in the red zone. Like they're ready to touch down.
So is OAN.
Breitbart, RT America, which gained a huge following the previous election. And the funny thing is the RT, they made the little logo RT America, but RT actually means Russia Today.
Right, exactly.
Oh God.
I know.
Russia Today America. It's like, where do you think they will lean?
Right, exactly.
Not with freedom.
It's a hoax. It's a hoax, Stainy.
Right.
Nothing wrong with Russia.
So Alyssa, I hope I answered your question. That is and here's the thing. If you go to the website that gave you that chart, they update it all the time. And you'll see, like, I think they have a video on YouTube where you see they do like a timeline from like 1998 or something, and they'll show you where each icon moves far left or far right or gets more to the middle. I think ABC is in the middle. So if you want something that's like readily accessible,
Where's
think
NPR?
CBS is in the middle, dead in the middle.
Where's NPR on that list?
NPR is in the middle, skews. It's
left.
not even skew. It's just
okay. Okay. So let me give my take on this one, because it's so funny that my husband and I were just talking about this hours ago, because I I walked downstairs to get my drink before the podcast started, and he's yelling at the TV. We have this news mix on that has 4 different stations. And what he had said was he can't watch MSNBC because most of the people on there are just opinionated. They're just commentators.
Yeah.
And then CNN, very left leaning. Fox News is one of the other ones. They're very right leaning, and they are those 3 networks. Their commentators are, you can just hear the disdain dripping from every word coming out of their mouth, because they're not. Yeah, exactly. And they're not journalists. They're commentators. They're entertainers.
Yeah.
So we were talking about which people on each network we could watch if we wanted to. We were talking about Fox News. We're like, well, Bret Baier, he's okay. Chris Wallace, he's probably the best that they've got. But literally everybody else on that network is just an opinion. On Fox, an opinion person. That's
Chris Wallace grilled the fuck out of somebody this morning. I had to pause and watch. I was like, this man is a journalist. It was Pete Buttigieg. He was just like, you were the one who said 9 million. I am looking right here. It says 2.37 million. Why did you lie?
Oh, nice.
I was like, holy shit.
That's good. So that's why he's still one of the only good ones on there. When Shepard Smith left, I thought he was one of the last remaining ones on Fox that was actually neutral when reporting on news. So looking at CNN, it's just even the Don Lemons and the Chris Cuomos,
Como,
they go so far into opinion that they don't even report the news, and what they choose to report on is also very biased.
yeah.
So MSNBC, Rachel Maddow, I like that
God,
she has so much historical context in her shows. She's still very opinionated, which drives me crazy, but she provides so much historical context leading into her story that I
yeah.
think is valuable for people to hear. But those are the major networks.
She won a Grammy.
Oh, did she really? I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
And she was surprised too. She wasn't at the award ceremony or anything.
Okay.
Like on Twitter, she was just like, "What?"
Well, that's good. So those are the ones that we could listen to. Like CNN barely has anybody I could even stand anymore. So what we had decided was we have to go to BBC to hear relatively honest stories about what's happening in America. And that's really terrible because
BBC and Al Jazeera.
we don't even go for Al Jazeera. And I looked at him and I said, we really have to listen to NPR if we want to know just what the news story is.
Yes.
And that's really what it is. They give you the headline and then they move to the next headline, then they move to the next headline, and then they do segments where you can deep dive into some of those headlines. But they don't do the opinions. They don't do the disdain in their voice when they're talking about and that's what really this chart is helpful for, is to find the news sources that actually just give you the news, not the opinion on the news, but the actual news. And it's hard to find, but I think NPR is the one that I have the most easy access to, that I listen to, that I want to know what the headlines are.
Yeah.
Boy, but most of the people.
Just so you know, for the purposes of this show, Alyssa, if you do listen to our podcast, it's one of the things that we talked about when we were in the planning stages of like, we're not taking any news or points or anything from CNN or MSNBC or any of those people, because we're trying to just give the facts and talk about our opinion on the facts. So we stay away from whatever the sensationalism is. A lot of times the information that I get for doing the podcast is articles that I've read from written sources, from AP,
Right.
from routers, from things of that nature.
Right.
Like I can't, I've gotten to the point where I can't sit and watch CNN, because even though that they're aligned a little bit more with my politics than say a Fox News, when I watch, all right, let me just use an example. When I watch Rachel Maddow and she's talking about the Russian pipeline coming through the Black Sea from Ukraine and bypassing Ukraine and killing their economy and bringing their pipeline through Turkey, which is why they were involved in Syria, and also the connection to the German pipeline, which is a huge deal right now because they want to be the natural gas providers for Europe. That's their big thing right now, to get that done. And when she connects that to how the fulfillment of that would be helped by the Trump election, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then she gets into like bringing it all the way to here. The historical part is fine. Like, this is what they did in 2018. This is what they did in 2019 or whatever. But when she gets to the here and now, it always gets to the point where I'm holding my head and I'm going, how you, man, you would never pull a hamstring because that is a stretch. Why did you stretch so hard? That sound like, just listening it into my ears, that sound like a stretch. That sound like Putin's son was banging Ivanka and they hooked it up, but it was under the hush. And then she'll be like, I have a picture right here and this proves. And I'm like, that don't prove shit, Rachel. You were, oh my God.
Right.
That's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
It's like,
yes,
as much as it aligns with my politics, Don Lemon, Cuomo, Maddow on MSNBC,
right.
I'm just like, bro, don't be the opposite of Fox News.
Right.
Just be. So if I'm watching TV and I actually want to watch the news and I just want to get what happened today, who did what, I don't want to know why they did it, because that's your opinion.
Right.
I want to know what happened. Then I'll watch CBS, or there's another station, Newsy.
Okay.
Best I got.
Okay. I want to give a shout out to Cherry Cherry. How you doing, love? It's been a while. Hope you're okay. But thank you so much for being here. I have a question for Stainy.
I have one for you. I have one for us that I
Oh,
haven't asked yet, but go ahead.
yes. How do you feel about the death tax? Do you think it should be repealed?
The who?
That the death tax. Do you know what the death tax is?
Is that the estate tax?
Yes.
Okay, because
This
you gave it another name, and I was just like, I know I'm
oh,
not dumb.
I
Death
didn't give it another name. This goes back to our prior episode where you talked about how Republicans like to slap names on certain things to make it sound like a certain way.
Yeah,
They call it the death tax.
that's the nickname.
That's what the Republicans
That's the
call it.
confirmation bias.
Yes, exactly.
Oh
Because
my god!
this is a tax, so it is an estate tax. This
As
is
soon as
what
you
if
said it, I was just like, death tax? How you gonna tax death people? Unless it's an estate. That was how my brain worked it. I was like, did she mean estate tax? I know what that is. I don't know what the death tax is.
this is politics. Yes, so
Wow.
this was a question that I got. Somebody asked me to cover this.
Mhm.
How do we feel about the estate tax, the death tax? Should it be repealed? I know I have an answer to this, but I want to know what you think.
So I don't have the intricate details of how the estate tax works. Let me see if I can ask a question, and if it's
Mhm.
correct, then I could give an opinion. If it's
Got it.
not correct, then I don't have an opinion.
Okay.
So you see how that works, America? If
Right.
you don't have enough information, don't form an opinion. How
I
hard is
love
this for
that.
people? It's so
I
wild.
love that.
So, is it a tax on the estate or the inheritance that somebody would receive, as in counted as like income for that year when they're the I guess not ancestor, I guess ancestor because they'd be dead, passed on stuff? Is that what it is? So
Correct.
so let's say I die, and like I make an inheritance for my son or my daughter or whatever. That's $1 million. In the year that I die, the government says, "Oh, that's nice that you wanted to give them $1 million, but it's only going to be about 780,000 because we got to get some of that." Is that what
Mhm.
you mean?
Yes.
Is that correct? Are you sure that's correct? I'm
That
trusting
is
this.
yes, that is correct.
Okay. One more question. Is there a loophole?
There's always a loophole. Yeah.
Okay. So, and the loophole is public knowledge. Because
I know that the
the way I'm looking at it, go on.
one of the exceptions is there's an amount. So I received a small sum of money, totally unexpected. I was shocked when this happened. But when my maternal grandmother died, she had a little bit of money. None of us knew. So I got a small sum of money. It wasn't taxed because it was under a certain amount.
Under a certain amount.
Mhm.
Do you know what
So
the
there
amount
is
is to where it starts?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I really
So
don't know.
I don't know why I'm making this connection in my head, but if you look at capital gains tax, and I know this because I play the stock market like a retard. My brain is smooth sometimes, and I make bad investments. I make good ones too, and those are great, but I make bad ones as well. So, but so if you look at capital gains tax, right, all the gains that you make this year, if you don't touch it at all for this whole year, then they can't tax you. If you just leave it where it's at, leave it at the broker or leave it in your investments or whatever, it's good. Now, the next year, if you take that out, it's way less to nothing. And I think currently under a certain amount, it's at like 26%, something like that. But
I don't remember.
But that's kind of the loophole. So if you can collect a fuck ton of money this year and just sit on it till next year,
Right.
then you're fine. But if you're just like, oh, I need this money right now, IRS gonna be like, hey, we need some of that. And that's how I feel about the estate tax. Now, if they're gonna repeal it to where they don't touch your estate or your inheritance at all, then they also need to remove capital gains tax because it's the same thing. So if they're not removing capital gains tax, then they shouldn't touch death tax.
Right.
Also, just isolating it by itself and looking at it at the estate tax. if somebody worked their whole life and leaves you something, mind your motherfucking business, man. Stay out of my shit. My father or grandfather or whatever died so that I could have a little something and left me a little something. How you come to be a part of this, Mr. Government? I don't like that. So that's my opinion based on what you've told me. I
Yes.
could be wrong, but based on what you told me, I don't support that. I don't, because like, why do you need some of that? That's between me and this guy. Because if he didn't leave it to me, where would it have gone? To probate, and then you'd have gotten all of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe not. So it's the reason I'm smiling and giggling over here is because I have the same opinion, but I was going to use a totally different example. So I work I work at a job where I currently work in technology, or I just got moved over to the business side, so this probably won't be eligible going forward. But when I worked in technology, we received a bonus every year, and it was, I don't even know how it was calculated, but the better we all did collectively, the higher the bonus that we would all receive. My bonus is taxed at 40%. Almost, yes, almost half of my bonus is taken away. It's not a substantial amount. I know some people who make basically half their income as a bonus. That's nowhere near what I would make. But let's say I get, like $5,000 as a bonus. Almost half of that's taken away in taxes. So it's not, I don't think it's right for regular people like me. I don't have money to pass to any of my nieces and nephews right now. But if I did, then I could understand that we're all being treated equally. But it's not right for regular Joe Schmoes like me and you to still have to pay almost half of our annual bonus for the job that we do, for the things that we do on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. Our bonus, it's related to our work output and our productivity, to still be taxed at 40%. Whereas these people who are wealthy get to make a case in front of politicians that because they're wealthy, they should be able to not have that taxed when they pass it to their ancestors. It should be across the board for all of us. Capital gains, inheritance, bonuses. If one of them's not taxed, none of them should be taxed, because that's a reward for hard work. It's a reward for hard work in every case. And so if
old people stash their money in the mattress.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly why they do it. Maybe that's something that they should do. But it's just, if the wealthier people are going to say that it's their hard work that led to them having this inheritance to give, then they can't look at me and say my hard work should be taxed, but their hard work should not be.
Hey, let me tell you something. As a person who plays the stock market like daily, because I'm a day trader, ain't no damn hard work in investments. Okay,
I get it. I get it. These are their words, not mine. Their words.
Fucking hard work.
They're making the case that it's their hard work. So then my hard work should not be taxed either. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, it's funny that we both use the same exact explanation with different examples. But yeah, we came to the same conclusion. Yeah, they really, Melissa, they really do find ways to tax everything. Absolutely. But the loopholes are the things that you have the benefit of exploiting those loopholes if you are wealthy enough to pay for a tax advisor that can help you find those loopholes. Yeah. Yes. So the people that need the loopholes the most are the ones that can't afford to get them.
So the question that I have for you is a question that somebody asked me a few days ago, and I don't have it here, so I might be paraphrasing.
Okay.
This is a question for us, and I think I'll answer it the same way that I answered them, because I responded at the time. The question was, are we going to ever, and this is a weird question, but I'm just asking anyways, are we ever going to disagree, or are we just going to keep agreeing on the same political standings and topics for our podcast? And I think, I think that's a very good question for a Q&A about a podcast.
It is. And the reason I'm laughing is because we do disagree on stuff.
Often. I was just like, did you ever listen to this thing? Because Beth tells me I disagree with you all the time.
Right. Right. But a lot of what we've disagreed on is stuff that we haven't brought into an episode yet. We have disagreed on episodes before,
Mm.
but I will give you an issue that Stainy has said we are not doing an episode on that, and it's about gun control. I have a lot to say about gun control. I will say that my opinion is not with the Democrats and it's not with the Republicans. I take the unpopular opinion that I actually marched in Washington for, which is that we should not be trying to ban shit. We should not be trying to make everything available and do nothing. We should be focusing on mental wellness because people don't reach for guns if they are actually able to manage their anger in different ways and have coping skills. So my opinion is very unpopular, but I was well prepared to state that opinion and have an episode around it. But Stanley was like, fuck no, we are
Hey,
not talking about this.
no. It wasn't fuck no, we're not talking about this. It's fuck no, I'm not joining the conversation. I said that I would be happy to sit there and get blasted drunk while you give your opinions. Because as a black man in America, bruh, there was a post on Facebook that somebody, it was actually on your post, and I made this chiding comment that that Biden's gonna have to visit some other group or some other race of people or collection of victims about gun violence by the next week, the next Wednesday or whatever. And this was after the Asians got killed in Atlanta. That was a Wednesday. By Friday, there was another one.
Yes.
And I was just like, I still got 3 days. I still got 5 days left on my bet. We didn't even get to the halfway point. We got 2 days and there was another one. And my thing is, I don't have anything to say. All right, here's the whole podcast for me, which is why I disagree with doing that issue. Here's the whole podcast for me. Sandy Hook. We all were watching on TV and heard the news and whatever. A bunch of kindergartners and first graders, children, toddlers, got killed by gun violence in America.
Mm-hmm.
What was done after that?
Nothing.
You know? Do you know?
Anybody?
Nothing. So when was Sandy Hook? 2011?
I honestly don't remember.
It's more than 5 years ago. So we're in 2021. If America didn't respond to toddlers getting killed, the fuck am I talking about?
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna talk about nothing because it's nothing. So I opened the podcast. Hey guys, Sandy Hook happened. Bunch of toddlers got killed. We did nothing. A decade later, we still talking and debating. I'm done. Beth, take it.
Right.
That's what would have happened, and that's why I didn't want to do it.
And I understand that. I still think it is a conversation worth happening because of the fact that there's a short game and a long game that has to happen with this. In the short term, yes, we can discuss if we need to have legislation. I think that we can do a lot of good by closing the gun show loopholes. That kind of shit should have happened 30 years ago. Yeah. There are things we can do, but I think that anybody who's saying only legislation can fix this for, banning certain weapons or legislation will never fix this. Both of those people are wrong. We have to do so much more. We can do short-term legislation to fix some of the issues with who gets access to weapons very quickly. But the long game has to be, why are people reaching for weapons in the first place? Why do people think that the way to manage their anger is by picking up a gun and shooting somebody? That is an issue that removing their weapons isn't going to resolve because they're going to do something else. They're definitely not well mentally. And I think it's because, broadly speaking, and Stainy, you and I have had this conversation before, broadly speaking, it's a cultural issue in America where we're not allowed to show emotion because emotion is weakness, crying is weakness, anger is weakness. Let's see, what else?
Being too excited is weakness.
Being too excited is weakness. Being emotional is wrong. You can't go to therapy because you're a pussy. That kind of stuff. That is a cultural issue in America. Everybody benefits from therapy, period. I will go to my grave making that argument to anybody that I meet. If you think that you can't benefit from therapy, you're wrong. All of us can.
Look at Melissa's comment there. She says, you have disagreed, but you also show each other respect when it happens. Probably why it goes somewhat unnoticed. And that is
That's
true.
right.
Because
That is
I remember
true.
specifically the one that I remember because it was a dagger for me, and I'll never forget. I asked you, I was just like, hey, Beth, you know Donald Trump? And you're just like, no. And I was like, is he racist? And you're like, I can't call somebody racist until I know them personally. And in my mind, I was screaming, bullshit. That's bullshit. Hitler was racist. The end of the argument. But I didn't say it. I just
Trying
I
to
was
draw this
respectful. I was respectful about it, as Melissa said, which is why she said probably why it goes somewhat unnoticed, because my brain was screaming. I was just like, tell this woman she talking shit.
Well, now that we're on the subject, the reason that I wasn't saying that, because I had to draw the distinction between the broad brush that you were painting with to say that everybody who buys a Dr. Seuss book is a racist versus Donald Trump standing up there. Well,
Yeah, I
go
didn't
back and
think
listen.
that.
Okay, but that's kind of the suggestion that was made, was that people who bought that book were racist, period.
Hey,
So
look,
I was trying to draw hold on, let me finish.
look at
I was
us
trying to
disagreeing right now.
Right, exactly. I was trying to draw the distinction between people buying the book. I don't know them personally. Donald Trump has been on television for the last how many fucking years?
Being racist from the get-go, from he came down the fucking escalator talking about Mexicans are racist and rapists and shit. I'm like, that guy's a racist. We ain't got to talk about that. We ain't got to discuss that.
So there's a difference between somebody standing on television saying racist shit every single day versus a person who buys a book that I don't know anything about. I can't call them racist because I don't know.
That is true.
That's the distinction.
But that's the thing. See, that's the decorum we have. That's the tact we have with each other. Where I'm be thinking this shit, but I'm not gonna embarrass my friend on the fucking podcast. Why would I do that? Just and then just be having all this angst and animosity. And I know she's not racist. She don't support racism just to get her in a gotcha. Just was for ratings. We don't even have ratings. We got like 50 viewers.
I know, but I'm trying to avoid. I'm avoiding the cancel culture stuff in the future, because in 20 years somebody's going to go back and look at that clip, and if I would have said, yeah, Donald Trump is racist, they would have been like, you're calling everybody racist. You bought a Dr. Seuss book.
When you're running for Congress, they'll dig it up. Me, I'm just still doing whatever the fuck I do. So I'll tell you how I answered the original question. I'll remind the people who are watching or who are just tuned in. The question was, why don't we disagree, or are we just going to agree on everything? And my response, it was in the text. I was just like, listen, this is not First Take on ESPN where Max Kellerman has to disagree with Stephen A. Smith to make a show. This isn't Undisputed on FS1 where Shannon has to disagree with Skip Bayless just to make a show.
Right.
I'm not going to disagree with logic just to have another side. That is the dumbest shit ever. And I see it on other shows. For example, Skip and Shannon, Undisputed. Shannon will come on all day and be like, LeBron James is the GOAT. LeBron James is the best player ever. LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan. LeBron James is whatever. Or he'll just make a regular statement. He'll just be like, LeBron James is the best player in the NBA right now. Which, if you have eyeballs and watch the NBA, that is true. That's been true for the past 17 years. He's a universe class player. The man is good at what he does. I don't even like him. I'm not a LeBron fan, but I can look at my screen and go, man, that's a tough shot. That's a very good pass. That's the play that should have been made, and he made it. He's a fucking good player. Skip right across from Shannon, it'll just be like, nope, LeBron is terrible. I think that KD is better than LeBron. I think James Harden is better than LeBron. I think so-and-so, and you're just like, Skip, what the fuck are you? Are you not watching the same game we're watching? Are you dumb? Stop that. Because those same players that you're talking about will come on your show and tell you, I'm not better than LeBron. Are you stupid? Mm-hmm. Just to have controversy or an issue or to just get have to ratings have or whatever. Yeah, it's like, that's not our show. Nope. Our show is, if it makes sense, I'm gonna agree with it if it makes sense to me. So if she says some stuff that makes sense, I'll just be like, We had an episode up, maybe not the last one or the one before, where I read a comment from one of our Patreon users, Rayon, about how to fix the filibuster. And at the end of it, Beth was just like, I agree. I agree with everything he said. And so we close the segment. Moving on to the next topic. It doesn't have to be, well, I have an opinion. Listen, man, I'm of the opinion that opinions need to be validated. That's where I grew up. I was born in the Cold War era, where you had to back up your opinions with supportive evidence that are based on fact.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you have a thought doesn't mean it's valid. And I know we live in the era of Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, where if you get a certain amount of likes, then support equals validation. No, a bunch of lemmings jumping off a hill are suicidal. That's what they are. That's not support. That's a bunch of people doing dumb shit. That's how we got the Capitol stormed.
Yes.
Because no one person would just be like, hey guys, I think this is a bad idea. We don't have the facts to back up what we're saying. We're doing this because. Yes, we're all saying we're doing this because the election was fraudulent and they stole it from our guy. But I just want to get on record as saying that 64 court cases were thrown out, even by the Supreme Court, which is an equal branch of government as the president. And they said, nah. So we probably shouldn't storm the Capitol. Not one person.
Mm-mm. Nope.
That's the era we live in right now. So I'm not going to disagree just to disagree to be conflicting. And I'm not going to agree just to be agreeable.
Right.
Make it make sense and I'll agree. If it sounds like bullshit, I'm going to tell you it's bullshit. If, tactfully.
Exactly.
Respectfully.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because that's what friends should do. Be respectful. And there's no reason that I wouldn't treat somebody else, a stranger, the same way. I'm going to be respectful. So many people in my life ask me for my opinion on politics. Part of what made me feel like I was empowered to do this podcast, because I do have individuals come to me all the time asking, Beth, I need your opinion on this because you seem to really have a good grasp of it. And really, it's just that
me too. And I'm like, why do you trust my opinion? I don't have any more sources than you do. Look,
and that's the thing. I think that it's because I do go out and find primary sources for stuff. I do a lot of research. I'm a nerd, so I like to read a lot. But also, I can find tactful ways to disagree with people. That's what's missing in a lot of our political discourse is that, and even you and I have been on some of the same threads on Facebook, and I've been like, Stainy.
Right, because you are very tactful. And I'm like, fuck you, you're a moron.
Right. But I would
idiot.
treat
Why
strangers
would you say
that way
idiot?
too. There have been some times people have gotten the worst out of me, and I have actually just, fired off at somebody because they pissed me off way too much. But it takes a lot to get me there because my purpose
gotta be in the mood.
But my goal is to change people's minds, and you can't change people's minds by being an asshole about it, So I've got to bring people to my side. And usually what disarms them the most is for me to say, I hear you. Because I do understand what people are saying. And I'm not going to say you're stupid. No, I'm going to say, I hear what you're saying. Here's where I disagree with that. That disarms people because they just want to be heard. That's really what it is.
And this is where I differ from you in my approach, because I know going in that we are both going to leave with the same opinions that we came here with. How many times, like, you may have had some success. I'm not saying you haven't in changing people's minds, in changing people's understanding or whatever. But from my anecdotal personal experience, people don't want to learn. People want to argue their point.
Yes, they do.
And I've been arguing for 39 years.
Mm-hmm.
My preschool teacher called me the village lawyer.
That doesn't surprise me.
God bless your soul wherever you're at, Mrs. Salmon. She died. She lived a very long life. But she called me the village lawyer. So, like, if you want to argue, we can get cozy. I'm ready. We're going to do this.
Right.
Because here's the thing. Like I said, opinions need validation. And I'm going to come with valid points to support my opinion. Or I'll clearly say, I don't know anything about that subject, and so I don't have an opinion. My problem is these days I'm arguing with people who don't know what the fuck they are talking about and have an opinion, and I'm going to bury you.
Well,
that's where I'm at.
One of the problems we have, and I've seen this a lot recently, and I even posted something on Facebook about it several weeks ago. So many people treat social media like a Dear Diary moment, where they think that they're writing something that it's only for them and it's only for people to agree with. And if anybody comes in with opposing opinions about
Mhm.
it, they're just like, no, I don't want to engage. You put it out there publicly.
Yeah,
You put your thoughts out there
if you
for
don't like
everybody
this,
to see.
if you don't like this, keep scrolling. No, I don't like it because you're wrong, and I'm gonna tell you why you're wrong. You moron.
I've had people call me somebody who likes to just trigger the drama or bring the drama into the conversation merely because I'm asking questions. So I would appreciate if people would put a disclaimer on there, because if that's what you want to do, if that's what you want to do on your Facebook,
Mhm.
to just only be able to say what you want to say, get a pat on the back, and not have any dissenting opinions, please put that in your post. Just say, don't ask a question like, why do people do this, this, and this? Don't ask a why question if you don't want me to answer you. Put
Yeah.
a disclaimer that says, I really don't want anybody to respond to this. I'm just putting this out there so I can feel good about my opinions, but not have any dissent. Put it out there and I won't respond. Because if
Yeah.
I see somebody asking a question, I'm going to answer it.
Exactly. Because I
And if
look
it's
at that
opposing your
post.
opinion, don't think I'm just bringing the drama. I'm literally answering your question.
I look at that post the same way, and I'll be like, "Oh, this person is a moron," and I'll just keep scrolling. But if you leave it open ended, I'm gonna tell you why I think you're a moron. I'm because whatever. Hey, just so I don't know because you're in control of all of this.
Yeah.
Are you seeing like the YouTube and the Facebook and the StreamYard at the same time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I can only see the StreamYard. So if people are asking questions on these various places, I don't
Oh,
know.
it's all coming in here. StreamYard has all of it consolidated. So
All
so
right.
you're seeing everything too.
Nice, nice, nice.
So yeah, so thank you, Melissa. Yes, we are respectful to each other. Melissa also had the question about back to guns. Didn't they start arming teachers? I think maybe some local places did, but it's not a nationwide thing. Thank God. My husband's a teacher, and he said he does not want to be anywhere near a gun, and I agree with him on that one because again, the root cause of people reaching for guns to manage their anger means that they don't have any other outlet. And so whatever caused them to have a bad day, they're like, I'm just going to take this gun and shoot somebody. So if you arm teachers, that's one extra weapon in the building that kid's going to have access to. And it could be also a teacher who has a bad day and decides to do something in front of their students. It's not something that is, there could be instances where it does protect people, but it's going to create more negative and destructive consequences than it would be constructive safety
When these
measures.
arguments were going on, I was still teaching because I taught K through university for
Mhm.
13 years. And when this argument was going on, I think I was like in my last year or last 2 years, and I was
Mhm.
like, "You want me to do what?
Right.
Have a gun around children? Are you
It's
lost your
just
binking mind? Are you what?
it's just not the solution. Like, I keep coming back to this question. What problem are you trying to
What?
solve? What problem are you trying to solve? They're trying to solve the fact that people are coming into schools with guns. Okay, well then deal with the stuff that happens before they get to the school. Can we please? Because that what their solution is, it's not solving the actual problem. It's going to create more problems.
Yeah.
And so as the wife of a teacher, I would say, hell no, do not be arming these teachers. Just don't. No, it's not going to solve the problem.
Like that's the thing, and I'm sure our patron Rayon would agree with me. America has this problem of treating symptoms.
Yes. Amen. Yes.
And come on, man. You can't if you keep wiping your nose, that ain't it. Take some medicine.
Right. Right. And
Oh my
I
god.
could say it's not just about guns, it's not just about abortion, it's about everything, healthcare, especially. I
Treating
mean,
symptoms. Because
treating
you know what though?
symptoms.
You know what the funny thing is though? You know what the funny thing is though? We learned a long time ago from a capitalistic standpoint, treating symptoms brings revenue.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't fix the problem. The
Right.
people who have the problem have to keep coming back for
Yes.
this symptom cushion.
Yes. Exactly.
And so, like, I think we were having a discussion a long time ago in grad school about, back in the 1800s and 1700s, 1600s, how we would find cures for things. We would cure smallpox or cure polio or cure whatever. And it's like, what is the last cure that we came up with? It's like actual cure? like 1930 something. It's like, because they realize if we can keep people alive with the problem that they have to pay to keep themselves alive, that's money.
Exactly. It's a
That's
profit
where
driven.
we are as a planet now, where nobody's trying to fix shit. We're trying to see if we can monetize whatever the problem is.
Are you
Bruh,
familiar with
hard to live here, bro.
Are you familiar with Michael Sandel? He's a Harvard professor, does lectures on
Oh, go ahead.
justice and what's the right thing to do.
Mhm.
He gave a speech in which he was talking about this very problem, treating the symptoms, not the problem itself. He says
Yeah.
this is what happens when you transition from a market economy to a
Mhm.
market society. A market society is where everything's up for sale. We're up for sale, our emotions are up for sale, our symptoms
Yep.
are up for sale. So this is a market society that we live in. And when everything is for sale, everything is going to look like not necessarily treating the problem, but treating or targeting whatever it is that's going to make the most money. And if,
Mhm.
just like you said, if that means keeping people alive with chronic illness and just giving them pills every month that make money, that's exactly what the market society is going to strive for. It's sad, but that's exactly what we're doing, treating the symptoms.
All right.
Yep.
So not to grab the reins of this, but we're at 1 hour and 52 minutes.
Yep.
So if you have any questions, this is the last call for alcohol.
Yep. Last call for questions. Stainey's getting he's passing over to the other side.
Dude, I haven't had anything to eat.
I know. I'm a little concerned for you.
To be honest, I've not been eating for a long time, but that's
It's
my
not
own
good,
problem
man.
I'm working with. It's cool.
Take care. You got to take care of yourself. You are important.
I have to survive. I am important.
You are important, and you don't have to just survive. I want to see you thriving. So you got to eat, you got to sleep, you got to stay hydrated. Make sure you're taking care of you.
All three things I have not been doing, but Jesus Christ. I'm going to get to it though. One day. Soon.
Today.
Okay.
You're going to get to it today. Promise me. I'm
soon as I
going to
finish
text
eating
you
this.
tomorrow, and I'm going to make sure that you've slept and that you've eaten breakfast and that you stayed hydrated.
Man.
Especially if you're going to be, I don't know, is it supposed to rain tomorrow here? I have no idea. But if the weather's nice outside, staying hydrated is even more pertinent. Well, I don't see any other questions coming in, but I am so appreciative for those of you who have been here, listened to. We're almost at 2 hours, but I was saying,
sent questions in before, and the people who showed up to ask questions here: Angie, Cherry, Alyssa, Melissa, and the trolls. Man,
and the trolls.
Fuck it. We got
the trolls don't stick around. I knew that they would leave, and I did ban a couple of them because they were saying such inappropriate things. They were not welcome here, but the rest of them just left because they knew they weren't getting under our skin. So the trolls left and everybody else stayed. I'm glad you guys did.
How you gonna try to troll a troll? I do this for fun.
I know. You do like to troll.
They were not success. They were amateur trolls. Hide it somehow. Like make it.
When the troll was saying, you can't tell me that Joe Biden is a better president than Donald Trump, clearly you're not living in reality. So
I didn't even pay attention to those. I was just like, are you 6? That ain't trolling. That's you showing everybody that you dumb.
That's somebody being political.
Yeah.
Not trolling.
If you want to troll, you gotta A, make it personal, but B, make it useful. It can't just be personal and just tangential. It has to be useful.
I just prefer to not troll. I just prefer to not troll.
I'm not gonna bring you over to the dark side.
No, and I wouldn't anyways. I wouldn't. I don't see it useful.
But like I said, it has to be useful. It has to be personal, but it also has to make sense. You know, it's like so the one of the best ways I can explain to you, and I'm kind of still new to Twitter.
Wait, why are you giving advice on how to troll? We don't want to know.
No, because here's the thing. Listen, just listen to me. What I'm saying. It's like what was the very last White House press secretary called? Her name's there's a K in there.
Oh, Kayleigh McEnany.
Right. So she had this post on Twitter that was saying, you know, oh, on this Martin Luther King Day or whatever, we need to come together. And she like quoted Martin Luther King or whatever. And it's like, that's easy to troll because all we have to do is go back 6 years on your own Twitter. So now we're making it personal.
Mm-hmm.
One, and to make it make sense, link it to what you're doing right now. So she had a post where she was talking about Obama's brother living in Kenya in a hut.
Oh my God.
So somebody took that tweet and posted it right under her tweet celebrating Martin Luther King. And it's just like, and it was very simple. They posted the tweet and then their comment on the tweet was, "This you, sis?" Make it personal, make it make sense, and connect it. If you're not doing those three things, you're just a nuisance. You're not even a troll.
Right.
Because they came in here asking about dumb stuff, and it's just like, and then like calling me X and calling you Y, and it's like, yes, those are personal, but
they're not accurate.
Water off a duck's back. It's just it's whatever. Who cares?
Calling me a ginger. I mean,
like, who cares? You know, like, who cares? That's the thing.
Not even accurate.
But that's what I'm saying. God. If you're gonna be good at this, you have to put in the effort. You can't just be like, "Oh, this is witty." No, because now you're gonna look stupid.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now, if you had posted something that I had said before that contradicts what I'm saying now, and just be like, "Hey, this you, bro," I'd have been like, "Shit, you got me." But there's that.
Oh, well, let's tell everybody where to find us because we are doing something a little confusing now that we are streaming from my YouTube channel, not from Mixed Politics YouTube channel. So let's go through our normal spiel and closing like we would for any episode. If you want to find us, we actually are now on Twitch for the first time. This is our first live stream on Twitch, but we're at Mixed Politics on Twitch. Also, YouTube, search Mixed Politics as 2 words. You can find our channel there. This video will be up there within the next couple of days. And then Facebook and Instagram, we're at mixed.politics, Twitter, mixedpolitics1. And then you could also email us at mixedpoliticspod@gmail.com. We do have a Patreon. It's always Stainy's job to do the rundown on Patreon. So why don't you do that for us?
I'm not going to take too long this time. It's patreon.com/mixedpolitics. And you can find different tiers there to support us, to get bonus content, to ask us questions, to get your questions posted on the podcast. You can also have dinner and drinks with us. You can also be a part of the show. You can get behind the scenes access to see how we plan for the show, how we plan to make the show, whatever. And there's a lot of merch that's being given away at various different tiers. I know some people might have gotten wind of the fact that there was supposed to be a hoodie given away tonight with this Q&A, and that's my thing. That has nothing to do with Beth. That was just my thing. So, and I'm still gonna do that. I'm gonna put the people who've asked questions both in the DMs on our Instagram and here. I'm gonna put you in a nice little mason jar and shake it up, and then pick one name, pour one name out, whichever name falls out first. Then I'll find a way to contact you. So that's actually only about 7 or 8 people, and then I'll send you a nice Mixed Politics hoodie, the same one that you would have gotten from patreon.com/mixedpolitics. So
perfect.
Once again, thanks for being with us. This is all very new to me. This is the very first time I've gone live on anything ever.
So first one in the bag for you.
Oh my God.
Very excited for you.
Okay. All right. So thank you. And
yes,
cheers.
To our analysts, pundits, and apes. Analysts, pundits, and experts, or otherwise known as apes, thank you for being here. And cheers to you.
All right.
Thank you. See you guys.
Have a good one.